So in this particular video, we're going to solve negative 6x minus 2y is equal to negative 34 and 3x plus y is equal to 17. These are a little different than some of the previous ones that you've worked because neither of these are solved for y. And so we can't just take them and set them equal to each other. It doesn't work this way. So what I need to do is I need to look at my two equations and I need to figure out which variable would be the easiest to solve for. So as I'm looking and trying to figure out which variable is the easiest to solve for, I try to look for the variable that has a nice, easy coefficient. So here's negative 6, negative 2, 3, and this coefficient is a 1. So it makes sense that I use this variable here and that I try to solve for it. So if I'm solving for y, that means the 3x needs to be relocated. So I would subtract 3x from both sides. And now my equation is going to read y is equal to a negative 3x plus 17. So I have an equation now that's solved for a variable. I don't have to do this one because I did this one. So now what I can do, oops, wrong button. Now what I can do is I can take this negative 3x plus 7 and I can go back up here to the equation I haven't used yet. And because it's y equals, I can replace this right there in the y spot. So that I have negative 6x minus 2 times the quantity negative 3x plus 17 is going to be equal to negative 34. Hold that on. Okay, so I'm going to take that, I replace it for my y, everything else stays the same, and this whole thing goes in for y, which is why it has to be in the parentheses. So now I'm going to take now I've got my negative 2 that needs to be distributed and multiplied to everything in there. So I keep my negative 6x, and I go negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6x, and negative 2 times a positive 17 is a negative 34. And that's going to equal negative 34. Okay? So now I've got to start simplifying. So because I have a negative 6x and a positive 6x, those are on the same side. So and here's my equal sign, and so they're together. And so because they're together, I don't have to inverse operations. I can just go ahead and put them together. But the problem is, a negative 6 plus 6, they cancel each other out. They get me 0x. And so I don't write down 0x, but it's okay if they do cancel each other out. Instead, I write down a negative 34 is equal to a negative 34. So is a negative 34 equal to a negative 34? Well, yeah, those are the same number. That's a true statement. These are the same number. So this is okay. If I'm in the whole negative 34 and you're in the whole negative 34, we're equal. Okay? So this is a true statement. And so when we have a true statement, that means that you've got the exact line means that you have the same line. And so if you have the same line, that means that every point on that line is going to be a point that works. So that really means that you have infinitely many solutions. So when your x's cancel one another out and it leaves you with a number that's equal to that exact same number, then you have an infinitely many solutions. So the biggest place that I'm seeing people mess up is that they're wanting to inverse operations here and they don't realize that these are on the same side and that you can just go ahead and combine them. So hopefully that helps you figure out where you messed up and how to get the right answer.